we go to the Reds versus the Tatars in Townsville this one. So I guess a Reds home game in that regard. And the Reds women will also be playing in the grand final on the same day as well. So they've got the double header, which is pretty cool. New injuries on this one. They did have James O'Connor go off at halftime, but that was just illness last week. So we expect he'll be fit and firing, and he was in great form in the first half. And not sure for the Tars, again, Gleeson, he went off at the half and he wasn't quite 100%, but not exactly sure where he stands. He was only just back from a calf injury, so hopefully not a recurrence of that. Anything else there, Nels?
We've also got in the returns column, we've got Angus Blythe returning after his red card. I think that was quite a bad card. I hope we see him maybe come onto the bench, not rush back into the starting side, because that was a pretty big mistake. Waratahs, we've got Ned Hannigan hopefully returning from his concussion, along with Harry Wilson, which will make some changes, especially I think with Hannigan coming back. What do we see here for the line and the odds?
Yeah, so the Tars are paying 160. They're the favourites. Tars at 225. The line is 3.5 points, so expected to be relatively close.
Yeah, the Reds are 160.
Oh, sorry, is that what I said?
I think you said Tars are 160 and Tars are 225. So
I mean, you can hear who I'm going to tip, can't you already? Not biased. Don't worry about that. Look, I think the main one that we want to focus on here really is this is the two teams probably vying for the second most Wallabies jerseys, and it's just all about the head-to-head. So Michael Hooper versus Fraser McWright. McWright I think he was the best player in the comp last week. Outrageous, should have scored 5 tries. Michael Hooper showing me how smart he is with his 50-22, which was brilliant. Continuing just to be running at everything. He's the first man chasing a kick. He's the first man covering a tackle, but maybe not making quite the same impact despite his huge engine. Gordon versus Tate. I think Tate's now really in the last couple of weeks realised that he's been leaving a fair bit out of there. So I think Tate running from the half is looking excellent. Again, he's back to his best. And Jake Gordon, kind of as a contrast, I think he started really well and maybe has been a little bit quiet the last few weeks. Maybe just the look of relief showing where his headspace is at after they snuck away with a win against the Highlanders.
Yeah, I think you're right there. It's interesting that they're both going different directions at the moment. We've also got the battle, or hopefully we've got the battle of Gleeson versus Wilson. This is a guy that is just super physical in Gleeson compared to, a class player who keeps missing out with, competition like Gleeson, and that's Wilson, who has really stepped up, I think, through this year and got better and better. Eddie wants him to play how he plays, just lift his work rate. That's a different Wilson. What we've seen from Rennie was saying you need to change how you're running into contact, do all this over complex stuff, where Wilson, the guy, his strength is running through people, running through gaps. Don't try and change that. The issue he has is his off the ball work, he's getting back to his feet, that sort of stuff. So hopefully we see him continue to build and we see Gleeson just be the angry bastard we know he can be, and this be a real battle between those two. We've also got what is a growing, maybe competition in Parecki and Fassler. He's also a similar side, I think, to Parecki. He's just stable hooker that can throw a line out, scrum relatively well. He'd come down to New South Wales last year after being released from the Reds before, they sent him an SOS and he went back, and he's really evolved and grown for them, and he's really becoming a Parecki-like hooker, I think, for the Reds of late.
Yeah, the only contrast there, I think, is that Parecki's got him by a landslide at the moment in the scrum. I think it helps when you got someone like Harry Johnson-Homestead next to you. Tetra Faulkner, a very experienced Lucy as well, and Faisler's got 2 young props on either side of him. But I just don't think that's probably the one area I think they're really quite different. But I do know what you mean. Faisler's just that consistent player at the moment. Last time these two teams played up in Queensland, the Reds got up 32-20. But the Tars just basically a new team from that one that went up and travelled to Queensland last time. Parecki, maybe Gamble, Feketi, Nwanga and Edawasi were the only starters from that same team last year, which is crazy. And, we did say before, and I was pre-pod, that Carlo Tizzano was the opening 7 last time. So I wish we had Tosano, but not to be.
Yeah, and we had Gamble at 6 that week as well, and Harris at number 8. There's just so much rotation in that back row over the last couple of years for the Tars, with a lot of talent there. But look, one of the things we already touched on, does Angus Blythe come in? Right now, they've been using Connor Vest, Seru Uru in the locks. Do you think they bring Blythe straight back in? Like, I mean, he's a very, very experienced lock, more experienced than those two. Does he come back into the starting side, or does he come onto the bench?
Over Connor Vest, 100%. He'll go straight in.
They've got Ryan Smith as well. Does he keep staying on the bench, or does Connor Vest then shift down?
Ryan Smith will start, no doubt
Ryan
about
Smith?
it.
Yeah, he was on the bench last week. So you're saying both those two guys are out?
So Ryan Smith will have a rest last week. He'll be back starting this week without a doubt because he's had a huge year. And Connor Vest will be dropping back to the bench maybe or out of the 23. And you'll see Angus Blythe straight back in potentially.
And what happens to Uru then?
Okay, sorry, I wasn't counting for Uru. I would prefer Uru on the bench, to be completely honest. But at the same time, I think what will happen in that regard then is that Angus Blythe will sit on the bench, and he's still coming off the naughty boy chair. It takes a little bit longer to get out of a chair like that when you've been out for a few weeks.
Okay, so we got there. You agree with me after disagreeing, and then you realise. So hopefully we see Uru still there starting, Blythe on the bench to
It's just
return.
not a lock, man. He hasn't been good at lock all year. They need to move him.
Uru? Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. He's a back rower.
We've got the same question we've asked 50 times. Petaia or Campbell at 15. It's pretty obvious what we're going to say. Petaia at 15. Push on.
I agree.
Kenny Ravai, give him a start again. Nongor's killing it. Ravai can both play both sides. How about we just put both of them on? I feel like that's the best start to the game.
Got for Agassi?
Yeah, bench.
He's not doing anything around the paddock. Sorry to say that to him, but he's not doing anything around the paddock. Penny Ravai comes off the bench and makes an impact as soon as he touches the ball. Maybe that's what they want from him, but yeah, this is a tight game. Get your guns on the field.
Yeah. And then on the Tars side of things, obviously Ned Hannigan back, we said we expect that he'll just go straight back to starting at lock, which means you then bench Sinclair, who can play obviously 6, 7, 8, 5, 4, pretty much anywhere. They might play him at loose head if they end up down a couple of players. Tony Seal, I think, will continue to start at 6. He's been a revelation since coming across and fantastic for the Tars. And then obviously the other jersey hoops at 7, and it's going to be Gleeson if he's fit or Harris on the bench. Is that what you got?
Yeah, I think so.
No more changes to the back line?
Last week, what do we have? We had Gordon, Donaldson, Fiketti, Parisi building, I think, well in the centres. Peach and Nwangani with Jorgensen at fullback. I don't think we see any changes to that back line, and I hope we don't see any changes to that back line.
Yeah. So I think, again, the Tars should just run over the red scrum here. If they don't, it's completely disappointing when you think about the cattle that they have, even without Angus Bell. So I think that's one area of strength. I'd contrast that with the rolling maul. In the preseason game, the Tars scored 2 rolling maul tries against the Reds, and we joked, the Tars finally have a rolling maul at the Brumbies. No, really, the Reds just have no type 5 and anyone can score rolling mauls against them. Well, that has completely changed through the course of this year. It's been exceptional to see the amount of improvement that the Queensland Reds have had in their rolling maul and type 5 so far. I honestly think that is one of the biggest improvements of any team in terms of a pack gelling together. It's really, really, really impressive. I think that they'll have the wood over the Tars at the rolling maul now, maybe significantly, like back Fazler in for a try, and the Tars will be trying to work out how to hold him out. It's just going to be hopefully Holloway swimming through the rolling maul.
Yeah, no, I agree. The Reds definitely have become a lot more solid unit there, but this game for me is going to be dictated by the back rows. And it's very easy to say that as a back row, but this game is going to be dictated by the back rows. If we see the likes of Hooper step up, Gleeson have a big game, I think it's going to make a huge difference for the Tars. If not, and we just see the Reds back rowers run ragged and you get quick ball for Tate and the blokes outside him, I think it's going to be a tough ask for the Tars.
I reckon it comes down to Ben Donaldson. I reckon most of the games do for the Tars now. Again, other than maybe the top 4 or 5 where they're going to struggle, the whole team needs to have a blinder. Anyone outside of the top 5, the Tars win comes down to Ben Donaldson playing well right now. And I think that it's going to come down to how well he can put the Tars in the right area of the field to play low-risk footy. They make a few mistakes still. They give away a few penalties still. So it's going to be up to him to steer them around accurately. I don't think he's done it yet this year. I think he's capable, but I don't think he's done it yet this year.
Did he play well last week?
No.
So it doesn't come down to him then, because they won and beat the Highlanders.
Oh, mate, by a bee's dick because Aaron Smith went off.
Yeah, look, I think
if Aaron Smith plays for the Reds this week, they'll pump us.
It's about time we see him step up. He's had a good chance here, and he's been lucky with Edmund and Harrison out. Geez, he's very lucky Will Harrison's been out because, in all honesty, I would have seen Donaldson move to the bench and Will Harrison rightfully get a crack in that 10 jersey, and that tears me apart that we haven't been able to see that, to be honest.
Yeah. And the tip for this one, I'll go first this time. The line we said was 3.5 to the Reds. I'm going to say the Reds, despite what I want, will win by 5.
Us by 5.
I love it. I hope you're right.